Hello, everyone, and welcome to Nails and Beauty Talk. I am your host, Asia the Bird. To have a very special guest with us today, she is the founder of Tri Pro Tools. Please welcome Lola Ricketts. Hello, Lola, and welcome.
Hello, you okay? Thank you.
Yes, I'm doing well. Glad to have you on the show. So I want to go ahead and really get started by asking where you're originally from and tell us a little about your upbringing.
Okay, so I'm originally from inner city, small little inner city town near Birmingham,
Mhm,
and well, in Birmingham. And my upbringing, I grew up in a single parent household predominantly,
mhm,
and I have, siblings, so two sisters and a brother, and my upbringing was very much I grew up in a city area, so it was
mhm.
pretty much find inspiration to do things to sort of occupy you
Right,
at your own free range
right.
almost. And then I went on to secondary school in a really lovely area in the West Midlands, and yeah, from there I've sort of left school and went on to start my journey into beauty.
Oh, that's really, really cool. So I want to go ahead and get into your school experience. So what was like your school experience like as far as primary school, secondary school, university, and things like that?
Oh, okay. I really didn't enjoy school very much. I kind of hated school growing up, if I'm being totally honest.
Oh,
Um, I mean, I loved, from what I can remember, being at sort of primary school and assemblies and
mhm,
music and all of that kind of stuff, singing along.
right.
It was secondary school that I really didn't enjoy.
Mm,
I think that's typical of most young people, because you're
right.
really kind of finding out about yourself, and
Mhm,
you're sort of going through those stages where you're getting to know other people's characters and
right.
judging for yourself whether or not you sort of gel with other people. So for
Mhm,
me, secondary school was a little bit tricky. And I always kind of knew that I didn't want to go on to further education. So I wasn't interested in going to university or going on to college, to be totally honest.
mhm. I want to get into as far as hobbies. So did you have any hobbies prior to getting into beauty, or was beauty something that you've always want to get into specifically?
Oh, I had loads of hobbies. I've always been quite, I mean, I've only just sort of, as I've become an adult, sort of refer to myself as a creative. And
Mhm,
it's other people saying to me, "Oh, you're really creative. You do that really well. You're quite arty." And I'm like, "Really, am I?" But growing up, I didn't see that in myself. But
mm,
I always love kind of like drawing and that
right,
kind of stuff. I'm not great at it by any means, but I always like that kind of thing. I'm a real stickler for detail, so I like things to look good.
right.
Always sort of like moving rooms around and moving pieces of furniture around to try different lighting and that kind of thing in the house and stuff. So I've always been sort of the finer details have always been really important to me. And
Absolutely.
I've always loved animals growing up. I
Yeah,
think
me
that's what
too.
yeah, I think that's what I used to say. I wanted to be a vet. But yeah, always loved animals.
Yeah, I love that. I love animals. Yeah, when I was like younger, like I had dreams at one point of being like a police officer or like I was like, I want to be a marine biologist, but I was like, no, no, no. I wanted to be an artist. So like once I got into second grade and did the art class, that was it. I was like, yo, this is something I want to do. I want to be creative. And it was like off to the
Yeah,
races. So yeah, so I had other slightly kind of other forms of like interest because I remember like in like elementary school or primary school, like, people would ask you like, hey, what do you want to be when you grow up? People would say a vet or a police
mhm,
officer and things like that. We would have career day at our elementary school and things like that. But
yeah.
like being a creative, that's me. I was like, I'm set on this. Yeah, so I want to get into as far as this other question. So you did mention in your bio on your website that you painted your grandmother and your cousin's nails. In what
Mhm.
ways did your family inspire you to jump into the nail and beauty industry?
Um, my mum was really into having her nails done. She always used to look lovely. When I was growing up, she really loved like fashion and stuff like that. She always looked super chic, nails done, hair done. was just a norm for her.
Right.
And I guess seeing that, and sort of seeing nails in magazines, and
Mhm.
older girls at school having their nails done, and older
Right.
girls in terms of cousins having their nails done. It just, I was, transfixed on sort of the first set of nails I ever had done. I can remember were those awful acrylic pink and white, um, where
Yeah.
where you've got a really big white tip.
Yeah,
But
right.
I absolutely love them. They was the first set of nails I ever had done, and ever since then, I was just obsessed with having my nails done. And my mom used to buy these little kits from the local chemist where we lived, and it
Mhm.
it was like an acrylic set. It was tips that you glue on with a little tube of glue,
Mhm.
a little pot of powder,
Right.
um, and a little. You used to get a little bottle of it must have been monomer acrylic liquid.
Mm.
um, and she would say to me, "Can you? I've done this hand, but can you help me do this hand because I can't do this one?" And I would sort of help her. I mean, you just used to like literally paint it on, kind of thing.
Right.
Um, and then I suppose that was the first time I'd ever sort of put my hands physically on product. That was the
Right.
very first time, and I was really quite young. I'm talking like 13, 14, that sort of age.
Mhm. Yeah, it's really, really cool. I want to go ahead and push forward and really talk about your brand called Tri Pro Tools.
Hmm.
So you sell luxury nail tools, tool care products, and skincare products. So talk to us about how the brand got started, and also were there any setbacks as far as in regards to developing your brand?
Okay, so um, being in the nail industry, I'm always kind of thinking, what can I, what do I need to make my job easier, or
Hmm.
make it more comfortable for the client, get a better result for the client,
Hmm.
or make my work look more presentable generally.
Right.
Um, so I'm always coming up with these kind of things as to what I can add to the services and what I can bring into the service to make it better for the client.
Right.
So one of the very first things that I started to develop was actually the skincare,
Hmm.
because I suffer really terribly with, well, really terribly when I was younger, growing up with eczema. And
Hmm.
my hands during lockdown, obviously, all the hand sanitizers, the gels,
Right.
the constant hand washing, not to mention the fact that we wash our hands in this industry an awful lot anyway.
Right.
So my skin was really, really dry and
Hmm.
really, really sore and irritated.
Hmm.
And I couldn't just use regular hand wash at the side of the sink, and those really highly fragrant sort of, creams and things like that. So I also used to have clients that I'd notice they would say to me if I'd got a pot of cream out or something to do a manicure, what is that? Can I just have a look at the ingredients, and asking me what the contents of it was. So I knew that it was an issue for not only myself, but other people as well, particularly my clients.
Hmm.
So I started to sort of look at local labs that we could work with and collaborate with, to
Right.
see if they could come up with formulations for us that was really kind to sensitive skin,
Hmm.
and not sort of like fixing the issue, but not sort of
Hmm.
adding to it or making it worse. And if anything, just
Right.
soothing it so that you were able to use your hands. Because obviously, being a nail technician, you use your hands an awful lot.
Right.
So the skincare range was actually something I started working on initially. The tools came sort of in the process of that, because I'd, like most nail technicians, we start off with a kit that we probably have from when we go and do training and things like that.
Hmm.
And we add to that kit consistently, replacing the things that need replacing and adding on top where we need to add products on top.
Hmm.
So adding to my tool collection was something I'd sort of thought about for a very long time, because the tools that I was using quickly deteriorated,
Hmm.
and I wanted something that fitted in with the aesthetic of the salon and wasn't sort of a bog standard design. There was
Hmm.
something, I told you before, I'm a stickler for the finer details and things looking nice and in their place. So I
Right.
wanted to create tools that had the quality there, were
Hmm.
going to last and be durable, they could be sharpened, and I wasn't gonna, struggle to fit them into the aesthetic as the salon. I was gonna be really proud of them sitting on the nail bar or the nail desk wherever,
Mhm.
um, and were really precise, and the result of them delivered a really nice set of nails. So they
Mhm.
really did do the job. And that was my main focus for the tools. I wanted the material to be, the quality to be in the material. So that was
Right.
really important to me. And the finish to be as refined as possible. And then from there, I mean, this was all happening during lockdown. A lot of brands and businesses, micro businesses, were started up during in that period. And
Right.
for us as technicians,
Mhm.
we couldn't go to work, we couldn't see our clients, that kind of thing. So I guess there was a lot of us creatives that were coming up with other things,
Mhm.
that we could add to this industry. Um, I've always been a very community driven person. I grew up in a community from a very young age, and I
Mhm.
come from a very big family as well. So I've
Right.
always had that sense of community around me, and I knew that when I started Tribe, we was going to be a community centric brand. First and foremost, I wanted to create tools for people that wanted the same things. They needed good quality tools. They needed skincare for their clients. They needed to be
Mhm.
able to offer that alternative, but
Mhm.
also they wanted to feel part of a community, buying into a brand that is for people, for the everyday nail technician, the girl who goes to work, does clients one after the other. Is probably not necessarily a content creator, but really wants to give the client the best service that they can.
Absolutely.
So that is definitely first and foremost, number one to us. We just want to be able to give our customers, the professional nail technicians, what it is that they need. We like to use a lot of feedback at Tribe. So we ask a lot of questions from our customers after they've purchased, that kind of thing. And
Mhm.
we also reach out to the community to ask them, what is it that you need? What is it you don't like about the products and tools that are available at the moment? What would you like to add to them? Um, we sort of use that feedback to drive product development,
Mhm.
and we create products that are sort of a necessity, and not necessarily just because of creating products just to add another SKU to our inventory or anything like that. We create things that are definitely wanted and needed by the industry.
Mhm.
Setbacks along the way, there's been so many, but every setback sort of, you learn, the more setbacks you have, the quicker you learn to pivot and bounce further away with them, if that
Right.
makes sense.
Mhm.
You learn to use them as a springboard to propel you forward even further.
Mhm.
So the setbacks for us, we've had, especially during the beginning,
Mhm.
sourcing packaging was a huge issue, because
Mm.
obviously COVID, things moving around the world very differently. It was a very difficult time to source the right packaging and get it at the right price and get it here on time, ready for product
Mhm.
launches and that kind of thing. So um, I've always sort of tried to take a very organic approach to Tribe. I
Mhm.
didn't want to have a business that was really stressful, in terms of really sort of hard on me as a person. I
Right.
wanted it to be something that I really enjoy working on, and if I stop having fun doing it or stop having fun creating things, then I know that something isn't right. So I just wanted to make sure that Tribe was, um, a business for me that I could just enjoy owning, and
Right.
I thoroughly
Absolutely.
do enjoy it.
Mm. And the thing is, like, I always hear the whole term, every setback is a setup for a comeback. So yeah,
Mhm.
definitely I like how you made the point as far as like any like setback is a set for you to, is a thing for you to learn, and you can always grow from that, learn quickly
Absolutely.
quickly from it. And also too, the thing is with the products, and I like how what your product and your brand represents, because it's not only about just the nail tech, but it's also understanding, providing skincare for those who go through
Mhm.
eczema or psoriasis and things like that. And the
Yeah,
thing is, like, even with me, like, I have, psoriasis, and also too, like, I've done a lot of hand washing to the point where I've had dermatitis in between my fingers. So,
yeah,
and even with, I remember working in a spa during college, my last year of college. And when I mess with like scrubs, like, so like when we do like pedicure and stuff, it comes with like a scrub that's part of the service. And
yeah,
so with the scrub, it would, irritate in between my fingers, and it would cause rashes. And
yeah.
so, I would have to wear gloves as far as messing with scrubs, because scrubs would just irritate my skin. So definitely I like how, what your brand represents. And skincare is very important for everybody to take care of their skin, like whether it's different lotions and stuff like that. So
Absolutely, yeah.
I like how there's more consideration as far as the importance of skincare, not just with nail care as well.
Mhm. Yeah. So one of the things that we made sure as well was that the scrub in particular, we use sugar instead of salt, because salt can be very drying for the skin.
Right,
For something like hands, you don't want a grain that is too sort of too harsh on the skin, so we
right.
use sugar instead.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah, absolutely, most definitely. So I want to get into as far as in terms of just vital things to know when starting a brand. So for anyone who's wanting to start their own nail brand or just any brand in general, what would be some of the most vital things one should know when starting a brand?
Um, I wish someone would have told me when I was younger, before starting a brand. Um, the to get your head around the financial bit of it.
Hmm.
Um, it's all well and good coming up with, sort of shiny ideas and shiny products and what it can look like and what it can do, but every business fundamentally operates off of numbers, and I just wish
Right.
that somebody would have sort of give me the heads up early on, or sat me down, give me some advice when going embarking into a business journey. Look at the numbers closely. Make sure your financial model is really tight. Make sure
Hmm.
you understand the numbers as well, and make sure you
Hmm.
understand the spreadsheets. Make sure you understand what the bottom line is. All of those kind of things around that sort of area, because I think we we can run into setting up businesses and creating brands quite naively sometimes, and
Hmm.
um, I don't think the right word is naively, to be honest. I think we just don't fully understand what the important elements are that we should really be taking care of and doing our due diligence on,
Hmm.
and really making sure we've done all our homework on it. Because if you can get that bit right, then you've got the good foundation for everything else around it. So if your product or your idea is really good and your branding's really tight and it looks
Hmm.
great, um, and it's on point, then if you've got the basis and the foundation really tight as well,
Hmm.
which is your financials, the numbers, then it should all just click in together and just work really well.
Right.
It's not gonna be smooth. It's not gonna be easy.
Right.
Um,
Hmm.
and I think if I could give myself some advice when I was younger, it would be that the whole journey along the way is part of the process, and that there isn't, and you're not trying to get on the bus and get to your next and get to the end destination. That's not what owning a business and building a business is all about. It's
Right.
evolving, it's ever growing, and it's always continuous. So there isn't an end to it, unless
Right.
obviously you're building a business for sale, and even then, there's still this whole sort of evolution of the business that you have to go through.
Yeah, absolutely, most definitely. And I think that, when I went to art school, like, there was a basis in terms of understanding the business to a certain extent, but we didn't
Mhm.
really know as far as a lot of like the financial aspect. And I like how you brought that up, because definitely the financial aspect is very, very important. Also to the aspect of insurance, how to
Yeah,
keep yourself, covered while owning a business. That's not covered as
yeah,
much either. And, I like how with nowadays, especially in the nail and beauty industry, especially in the nail industry specifically, there's more talks about, understanding your worth and your value as far as pricing your
Mhm.
services, pricing your nail art and things like that. Understanding the value within yourself and then within your skill. So that's something that is, I'm glad that's talked about more, but definitely, absolutely, the financial aspect, has to be talked on and touched on more.
Yeah, absolutely. We so you can just go on Instagram and keep and scroll, and you will come across lots of companies that can assist you with your marketing, your PR, your branding, your this, your that. But there just doesn't seem to be enough of that from the early stages, the beginning of like a business inception, really drilling down on that foundation, the fundamentals, the numbers, even following it through a little bit further into sort of like having a sales funnel. One of the questions that I see now technicians asking quite a lot is, how do I build a clientele? How do I get clients to know that I exist? How do I keep them? How do I build client loyalty? And for nail technicians, we don't. I don't think we think in terms of it being a business at first. It's more of, I just love doing it. It's kind of like a passion project to begin with, and then it evolves, and then it becomes something we see. It proves itself, and we're kind of like, oh, we can earn a really good living from this. This
Hmm.
is something I'm gonna really sort of get stuck into. But I think if we was to sort of turn things around a little bit and say to ourselves, this is a business. I need to look at, how am I going to first and foremost, who is the client, who are my customers,
Right.
look at the pricing in my local area, but also take into consideration all of my financials and that kind of thing to evaluate my price points and what they're going to be. And then, how is my customer going to move through the journey with me, and what do I want the outcome to be at the end when they've had their treatment, they've left? How am I going to get them to become repeat customers? If we could think about all of that at the beginning, it will give us a great foundation for making sure that our businesses are successful, I believe.
Hmm.
And one of the things that I really sort of lean into is really being authentic with your clients as well, and letting them know how much you appreciate their custom and their business from them and their loyalty,
Right.
because everybody wants to feel valued, and your clients,
Right.
they keep, it's how you earn your bread and butter. So your clients definitely need to feel like they are valued. So let them know.
Yeah, absolutely, most definitely. Now, you spoke about being also a salon owner. So tell us about your journey owning your own salon.
Okay. Um, when I was, I've actually had quite a few salons, to be totally honest with you.
Hmm.
Some failures along the way, some things that happen, some opportunities that came along when I was far too young to appreciate them. When I was sort of early 20s, I owned a salon at the Mailbox in Birmingham, which is a really sort of high end, um, almost like a shopping village.
Hmm.
You've got like Harvey Nichols, that kind of thing in there.
Hmm.
And um, I was probably too young to appreciate what it was that I was being given the opportunity to own and sort of create. And the salon that I have now is a much smaller salon in terms of, it's in a village location, and we really sort of deliver a one-to-one experience. It's not like it's a
Hmm.
hustle and bustling loud salon, or anything like that. So I really do sort of appreciate having a salon that can deliver sort of like really sort of one-to-one treatments. It's quite intimate. You get to
Hmm.
really engage with your client and speak to them as a one-on-one, rather than trying to do 100 different things at once in a salon. Um, but owning a salon has its challenges, just like owning sort of an e-commerce brand as well, which is predominantly what Tribe is. We're online. It has its own set of challenges. So each of them bring their own challenges.
Yeah, absolutely. So I want to get into as far as nail education in the UK. So what has been your perspective as far as the growth of nail education in the UK?
Um, when it's changed an awful lot in terms of there wasn't when I was going through my own education, there wasn't as many.
Hmm.
You definitely wasn't able to get on social media and reach out to somebody to say, "Hey, can you sort of mentor me or give me some training one on one? I like the way your work
Hmm.
looks, your work looks, and stuff like that." So there wasn't that opportunity when I was sort of going through training and that sort of thing. Um, Training in the UK now is more of nail technicians providing one-on-one training or group sessions, I believe.
Right.
Um, and colleges have kind of taken a little step back. I wish colleges would almost, I want to say to them, can you just shake it up a bit and do something with it, because it almost feels a little bit stale and
Right.
stagnant with
Hmm.
what we're offering in the UK. Um, there's a lot of you go through your beauty course, and if you're doing hair and beauty, you have to pick one. So you choose beauty, or whether you're more you prefer hair. But
Hmm.
in terms of nails, I don't actually believe there is a specific nail course that you can do in college and what the qualification and the end result is. I think the future is definitely in good quality education, and I'd really like to see colleges doing more. I think
Hmm.
I'd like to see them doing more, because we should we should be encouraging school leavers, school age children to go on to college, and not just. I think now the rule is that they have to be in education until they're 18 anyway. But I think if we was to be able to speak to more younger people about sort of what their options are in terms of nail education, um, and it all begins with that moving away from secondary school, going on to college or wherever it is that they're going on to do. Um,
Hmm.
but if they could just sort of do a big rejig of all of that, I think it would be a wonderful thing.
Hmm.
It's definitely needed.
Yeah, absolutely. So I want to ask this question because this is a question that I've been asking a few nail artists recently. So early this month of April, there was a day that was created by the Nailtech org called National Nail Tech Increased Price Day, which was a day
Mhm.
for nail techs and nail artists to increase their prices on their nail services. So, what is your perspective on the movement, and what has been your experiences pricing? And your experience as far as pricing your products and things like that.
Um, it was an amazing success for nail technicians on that day. I think personally, if you don't need to increase your prices, then don't increase them, and if you
Hmm.
do, then increase them. I think it's down to um, what it is that you need individually, and I think the Nail Tech org just made it, created a whole load of awareness around it that
Hmm.
maybe our clients and stuff was not aware of, as to what goes into delivering these treatments for them.
Right.
So I think it was brilliant, the fact that that awareness was there. Um, for us, we've always sort of taken into account, our overheads, that kind of thing, the
Hmm.
products that we're using. And I always like to look at the demographic in the area that we're serving as well. So if you live in an area where, or your business, your salon is in an area, you're working in an area where the demographic is, they're not high earners or they're not high disposable income, then
Hmm.
you've got to look at that and just be able to give your clients the the pricing structure that sort of is friendly on their pocket, I guess. But
Hmm.
accommodating your own overheads, you have to take the two into equation. So
Hmm. Absolutely. Now, what are some like your favorite products to use for your nails?
some of my favorite products.
Mhm.
Well, in our salon, in my own salon, we use Everything Tribe for skincare, obviously, um, and we love. I've always used CND in terms
Mhm.
of I did my training with CND in the earlier days, so
Mhm.
Creative Nail Design. They was the company that I chose to do my training with.
Mhm.
Um, After I'd done sort of like a course local to me and that kind of thing, and then once I'd started earning some money, I
Mhm.
was then able to afford to go and do some further training with Creative Nail Design, and
Mhm.
they provided excellent training. Going back to your question about education before, they provided excellent training. It was always those big brands that would sort of deliver that for to us up and coming nail techs.
Mhm.
Um, so I love CND products. I think that the quality is always there.
Mhm.
It's just one that I've used since I was younger.
Mhm.
Um, so yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, that's really, really cool. So I want to go ahead and get into this next question. So if you had a top five list of your favorite nail artists, who would they be and why?
Top five list of nail artists.
Mhm.
Okay. um, I don't know many of them by name, to be totally honest with you.
Mhm.
Um, oh, I don't know. Can we come back to that question?
Sure.
Yeah. I'll
Um,
have a quick look because I don't know people in the industry by name.
mhm. Yeah,
But
yeah.
I'll have a quick check.
Okay. Yeah, we can go ahead and go back to the question. So I want to go
Okay.
ahead and really talk about as far as the nail industry. So in your perspective, what are some things you like about the nail industry, but also what are some things you think the nail industry could be improved on?
Um, so things that I really love about the nail industry is that whole sense of having something in common, like-minded people.
Mhm.
It's a community. We all sort
Right.
of we're all there doing the same kind of thing, and I think nail technicians in general are great at that sort of like community spirit kind of thing.
Mhm.
Um, on the flip side of that, which is so strange to me, is um, the whole there can be this almost like exclusion as well,
Mhm.
where a certain group or certain people can be made to feel like they're being excluded. It's not
Mhm.
even about being made to feel it sometimes can be blatantly obvious that they're being
Right.
excluded from conversations, opportunities,
Mhm. Absolutely.
that kind of thing. So that for me is definitely one of the areas that I hate about the nail industry.
Mhm. Yeah, absolutely. Now, do you think that there is enough representation as far as the nail industry in the UK, like black representation?
No, definitely not. No. Um, One of the reasons why I sort of embarked on this whole journey of creating a tool brand was the feelings that I was having myself in
Mhm.
terms of when I looked at all the brands that I was buying from, I didn't see the kind of people that looked like me in their Instagrams, in their
Mhm.
Facebook, whatever it may be. I just didn't see them. And
Mhm.
it kind of made me feel a little bit like, well, you know, do people like me buy from these brands? Are they using these products? Am I meant to be buying from these brands?
Right.
And it then made me question, do I want to be buying from those brands? If that's how I'm feeling, then is there a brand out there professionally that I do feel a little bit more comfortable and at home with and a bit more like, yeah, this is the brand I want to be spending my money with. So
Mhm.
for me, definitely, I think there needs to be more representation,
Mhm.
and
Agreed.
we are definitely a brand that is about inclusivity rather than it being an exclusive. You
Mhm.
know this is exclusive to this group of people, and we're going to invite you to an exclusive giveaway and an exclusive launch. And we don't particularly use that terminology. We are very inclusive. So, and like I said at the beginning, the community is at the heart and center of everything that we do.
Hmm.
Um, I would like to get more and more, particularly people that come from, different backgrounds involved
Hmm.
in working, collaborating with us, that kind of thing. So yeah.
Hmm. Yeah, absolutely, most definitely. I think that representation is very, very important. And,
Mhm.
I like how, there's more of a discussion as far as just improving inclusivity, because definitely black women are not as credited for the contributions of the nail industry, if not the beauty industry as a whole. And the
Mhm.
thing is that, I've talked to different nail techs and nail artists, and they talked about being tokenized and being used, and their experiences with racism in the industry. And these things are, definitely have to be talked about in order for the nail industry, the beauty industry as a whole, especially, to be pushed forward and be progressive.
Absolutely, I agree with you. And when when we see the brands behaving in this way, we
Hmm.
should absolutely call them out on it.
Absolutely.
We should absolutely call them out on it. We should say when we're not happy, when when we feel that they've done something wrong. I mean,
Hmm.
there's, I'm not going to, sit here and name names of brands or anything like that, because
Mm,
I'm just not that kind of person. But,
mm,
there's definitely brands out there that do need to be accountable for the way that they have gone about things
right.
in the past, and continue to do so. But I mean, this is why Tribe was created, was not,
Mhm.
not to go, you can't be using that tool brand, or you can't be using that product, you've got to stick with us. It was to give people an option. If you're not happy over
Right.
there, then there is always something else for
Mhm.
you to go and choose from.
Mhm.
Um, another thing that I do love about this industry is you don't have to just stick to using one particular brand
Right.
all the time. You can dip in and out of using different gels. You
Right.
can dip in and out of using different skincare or different
Mhm.
tools or whatever it is. I think a good nail technician, for me, this is just from my own experience.
Mhm.
I was growing up and looking at nail technicians, and going back to that question you asked me about my top five nail technicians, there's plenty in the industry now that I see, and I think bloody hell, their work is phenomenal. But a lot
Mhm.
of the nail technicians that I sort of grew up in my early days in my career, that I sort of looked at as inspiring, they're a lot older now and probably not in the industry so much. But
Mhm.
um, you've got like a mixture of everything in the kit. There's a little bit of one brand, a little bit of another brand.
Right.
They've got glitter from this brand and a brush from this brand. And if you haven't got a kit that is a little bit messy and a little bit upside down and it's got a bit of everything in it,
Right.
then you're not really prepared for every eventuality, really, are you, as a nail technician?
Yeah, yeah. And that's the thing, and you bring up an interesting point, is that, if your toolbox ain't messing with different brands and things like that, like, you experiment with different brands and different things that you like and stuff. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
You don't have a full gist of what you like and what you don't like if you just stick to one
Yeah,
brand. And
yeah,
the thing is that, like, I've had, when I started, I was, using, doing nail art with acrylic paint, like literally using acrylic paint and stuff like that, or watercolor. But once I
yeah,
got into getting acclimated to using gel for nail art, I said, hey, like, I'm gonna try these different brands, see what works for me and what doesn't. Same thing with
yeah,
3D gels or like acrylics or whatever it is. So definitely, I think it's being experimental with different brands, and that's okay. You don't have to stick with
yeah.
one brand. It's not going to hurt to, dip into other brands and see what you like and what works best for you.
Absolutely. It's a good thing. I mean, like you said, how are you going to know what works for you and what you do like if you haven't tried any of the others? So
Mm,
you go ahead, try them all. That would be my advice, is to try them all. And when you're first starting out, there are definitely things that you're not going to need, and you buy
right.
them just because you want them, and you think to
Hmm.
yourself, why not, I'm going to buy them? But if I was, if I was speaking to someone who was just starting out and they said to me, what are the things that I need? There's definitely staples that you need in your toolkit and staples that you need in your nail kit. But I would say try them all. dabble in everything, get to know these brands and
Mhm.
find out for yourself what their values are and
Mhm.
if they align with yours and whether you want to be, affiliated with a brand like that and you want to be spending your hard-earned cash with them. So,
Mm. Yeah, absolutely. So where do you see Tri Pro Tools in the next 5 to 10 years from now?
oh my gosh, dreaming would be we would like to develop further tools because there's definitely other tools that I think the industry could do with, and I've got some, ideas brewing in the background as to what they would be. But we would just like to continue developing hand and nail care
Mhm.
for professionals and for their clients as well, so that they continue there's there's an awful lot of professional products out there for us to use in our services, but when our client comes to us, they look to us as their professional to give them the advice as to what cuticle oil they should be using, what hand cream they should be using, how often they should be doing these things at home.
Mhm.
So we will definitely continue to create products that they can sort of give to their clients so they can continue that journey at home and
Mhm.
just enhance their experience when they're in their salons.
Yeah, absolutely, most definitely. Now, what I love seeing in the nail community is Black women owning and starting their own nail salons, product lines, and educational courses, or their own platforms. We see Paranova, that's a Black-owned nail
Mhm.
brand. 516 Polish, Telmois. You have
Yeah.
Chantel that does her own platform called Colgasmic. So, in your perspective, why is it important for people to support Black-owned nail businesses and Black educators in the nail space?
Um, why is it important? Because you've got to have a variety. You've got to have that variety there, and we deserve it. We deserve to be to be seen and heard and have
Absolutely.
representation. We definitely deserve it. We, you know, very creative people. Um, if anything, we're setting trends continually. So
Mhm,
why shouldn't we have that? The acknowledgement and recognition for it, and
mhm.
um, it definitely is a good thing for I'm going to say young girls in particular because it's predominantly a female industry,
Right.
but young girls to see that other other people in education, other brand owners, other
Mhm,
gel brands and nail polish brands, where they can see people that look like them, because it gives them the comfort in knowing that people that look like me and maybe people that have similar backgrounds to me can achieve these things.
mhm. Yeah, absolutely, most definitely, and I love seeing Black women, us as Black women thriving in the nail community. Like, you got Nailed by Naya,
100%.
you have Creations by Kiki, you have Neat Nails Always, that's from Miami Ashley, who's another nail artist. So it's really, really cool to see Black representation. Even with Poochie's Nails, she has her own brand. So it's really cool to see that Black women are starting their own brand, doing different types of nail services, being educators and things like that in the nail space. And there again, I think it's important to have that, that sense of diversity and inclusivity, where we could see us,
Yeah,
in the industry, so
absolutely.
and it's not just white and Asian folks, it's also us too that's in the space as well.
Hmm.
And the thing with being Black is that, and I've always been taught this from my dad, like, we have to work 3 to 5 times harder than anybody else to get a fraction of recognition. So, I'm glad that there's more, Black people stepping into the industry.
Yeah, absolutely. So one of the I've recently come across an account. I think it's Nails Like Us,
Hmm.
um, and she's phenomenal at her social media. I love the
Hmm.
way she's really interactive and engaging, and she gives you some really good tips and tricks as to how you can grow your following and how you can keep your followers engaged. It would be really good if we could sort of have more education around. I think social media in
Hmm.
particular for nail technicians. I see a lot of us getting frustrated with the algorithms and things like that.
Right.
Um, it would be really good if we could get some more education around sort of,
Hmm.
it's not important the amount of followers you have. It's more important as to how engaged that community that you're growing
Right.
is. So for me, she does great things on Instagram. I love having a little look through all of her posts and that kind of stuff. Her reels, they're really good.
Yeah, that's really really cool. Yeah, Kim, she does very great content. I'm trying to get her on the show as well. You know.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah, that's really really cool. So I want to go ahead and really push forward and really ask, like, as far as life and mental health, how do you balance being a businesswoman and a salon owner with life and mental health?
Oh God, very difficultly. I'm a busy mom also,
Mm,
so it's really tough. You go through periods where you're just working hard consistently, and you
right,
feel like you're going to bed, going through, on autopilot, doing the school run, going home, going back to bed, that kind of thing.
right.
Um, so I guess keeping a balance is super important, obviously for mental health and physical health as well, because as nail technicians we sit for hours and hours and hours. So it's really important to try as best you can. I mean, I hate when people say that work life balance kind of thing. I don't even think it exists, to be totally
Hmm.
honest with you. I think you have to try navigating it as best you can for
Hmm.
you, and trying to know and understand when your body is trying to tell you calm down, slow down,
Right.
take a break, that kind of thing, and when your mind is telling you that as well. So when you feel overwhelmed, exhausted, it's okay just to put the laptop away for the night.
Hmm.
You can deal with that client in the morning, or you can sort that out tomorrow. It's not going to go anywhere.
Hmm.
Um, and just take your foot off the gas just a little bit
Hmm. Yeah, absolutely,
when
most definitely. And I want to get into this one question, as far as if you can give one valuable piece of advice to up and coming nail techs and nail artists, what would it be?
um, dream big, dream big. Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah, absolutely, most definitely. I could totally agree with that. Now, if you had a top five list of your favorite nail artists, who would they be and why?
Oh no, this question again. Kim, Kim would be one.
Hmm.
Clorgasmic for
Hmm.
sure. She does great things with not only her podcast, she also does the tutorials and things like that. I find
Hmm.
them, I think that's great to give up and coming nail artists access to those insider knowledge is great. Kimberly Lucia
Hmm.
and Common Interest, which is in Birmingham.
Hmm. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, it's really really cool. And why?
really just creative.
Hmm.
For myself, I'm really like plain Jane when it comes to my nails. They're either just short, neat, one solid colour,
Hmm.
or almond, long, maybe a French, something like that.
Hmm.
But I love seeing other people's nails where they've got like lots of bright colours and stuff like that. And nail art, I love
Right.
seeing nail art on other people, but I'm not a huge nail art wearer myself.
Hmm.
But definitely like a pop of colour, so like a solid colour,
Hmm.
um, really bright colour. I can carry them really well because obviously of my skin tone, that kind of thing.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, I love um, the art side of things. So a lot of those nail technicians that I've mentioned, particularly common interest, really good nail art.
Hmm. Yeah, I love how with the nail industry, there's so much different styles of nail art and stuff like that, and the amount of artistry is really really cool. But also too, I like the clean aesthetic too. You got Painted by Jules, you
Yeah,
have Jalita Fagan, you have Polished by Lolo.
yeah,
They do the very natural nail, solid color aesthetic. You got Shoshani Gray, who does, like, the simple, aesthetic, natural nails, the stickers, stamping, and things like that. So there's a lot of
Yeah. When you name them, I know who you're talking about. I just don't remember their handles or their names. I'm terrible. I'm so sorry. Seeing, just like names I'm really bad with. So,
no, it's all good. It's all good. Last but not least, where can people find Tri Pro Tools on social media? And how can people support the brand?
so our Instagram is official TriPro Tools. Our TikTok and our Facebook is also the same. So it's official TriPro Tools.
All right, that's really really cool. Well, thank you so much, Lola, for jumping on. I love what
Yeah,
you're doing. I've really enjoyed our conversation. Talking about the nail industry, your experiences being in beauty, how you got started, especially with Tri Pro Tools. So I really enjoyed this conversation. Really really cool, very insightful. So thank you so much.
thank you.
Yeah,
Thanks.
thank you. Take care.
Bye bye.
Bye bye. Hello, everybody. Thank you all so much for watching. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel. Be sure to click the bell for notifications. Also, follow me on my social media platforms and be on the lookout for more interviews to come very soon. Take care, stay healthy, and stay beautiful. Bye bye.